Rooted in resilience, inspired by nature, powered by movement. The podcasts where healing meets empowerment. Let's rise and thrive together. And now, here are your hosts, Scott and Melissa.
Hey, everybody. We just wanted to pop in and let you know about our Sedona Soul Retreat coming up in June of 2026, June 2nd through the 6th in Sedona, Arizona. Where we're going to have it at?
The Briar Patch.
Briar
This
Patch.
beautiful, it's just this amazing little nugget.
Yeah.
In Sedona where you think the big red rocks, which you'll see those, of course. But then there's this little sanctuary of green. And one of my dear beings that just shared with me this morning that they will be attending, looked it up and was like, oh, that's my place.
Yeah.
They just like felt the connection, and it's very spiritual energy there. And we're excited for holding space for all of us to be in that frequency, that vibration.
It's right on Oak Creek, and we were down there just a few weeks ago checking it out to ensure it was the right fit for our folks. And we are excited about this retreat. It's our second retreat, and we're on our way to selling out. So please check it out at Vital Edge Wellness Coaching Wellness Retreats. You'll see it vitalwellnesscoaching.com, wellness retreats, and sign up. Bring a friend. There's plenty of room. If you'd like double occupancy, you can come down, and we have private cottages and a lodge setting. So that's it.
It's exciting.
Enjoy the podcast.
Yeah, we'll see you there. Here we are.
Here we are.
Yes, welcome to Rise and Thrive podcast by Vital Edge Wellness Coaching. I'm Melissa, and this is Scott. We're just going to chat today.
That's right.
But first, we're going to breathe.
That's Saturday Night Live. Coffee talk.
Coffee talk.
Yeah. Tea
Yeah, I've
talk.
never seen that, but I like it.
You're young enough, you might not know what it is.
I will relish in that because I have a big number coming up this year.
Hawaii 5-0.
Coming up. Couple months.
It was 10 years ago for me. So on that note, let's settle in. Let's focus on our breathing a little bit and let some things go. So find yourself in a comfortable position wherever you may be, and lower your gaze or close your eyes, if whatever's comfortable for you. Nice straight back, sitting in a dignified manner, not stiff, just supported. And we'll take a nice cleansing inhale. And then let that go. Feel your shoulders drop. Feel your large muscles relax a little bit. Another long inhale. Exhale, letting it go further. Feeling the facial muscles relax, especially the muscles around your eyes. One more inhale. And then letting that go. Further, deeper relax. And then today, I'd like you to just do something very simple. One of my favorite simple grounding meditation methods, which is to breathe in the word I, exhale the word am. I am. Do that on your own pace and your own time. I'll watch the clock. I am. The beauty of this practice is you're letting go of all labels. You're simply just being. Two more I ams. And on your next out breath, you can Wriggle your fingers and toes. Open your eyes and come back into your space, knowing that you simply are. Thank you. You are, I am. Well, today we don't do a lot of show prep, and so we do consider what our topics are going to be. And we started talking about how we found ourselves on this wellness journey and very different pathways Melissa and I have had. And I love to talk about ages and stages and what we go through and whether we grow up or we spiral down, and what was our journey like. So what was your first experience with, I don't know, spirituality or wellness in general? Fitness is part of that, nature is part of that. What do you, and if you need a minute I can go, but I thought I'd start with you.
Well, I just had a thought, with what I've done over the years is it's always been kind of the same theme, but maybe different a little bit. But overall, health and wellness is just
But
kind of
what about your
different forms.
early years, like kid?
Oh, kid.
Yeah.
Way back.
Yeah. I mean, when was the first time you were like in awe of something that you knew was deeper than you? Does that make sense?
I got lots coming up in my thoughts because I'm currently reading a book, or listening to it, I should say. My version of reading right now about. Look, I do this. Look at that magic. About, you've heard of introverts and extroverts, but introverts.
Yeah.
So it's interesting.
Introverts is a fairly new phrase.
Fairly well, and it's helping to understand those that, still with the introvert tendencies, but not quite belonging, and not in a negative way. And I think early on for me, I very much resonate with reading this book and hearing the components of it. When I started to dabble into exercise, not really coming from a family that did much of that. I had a brother that played football, and other than that, it wasn't really
Lifestyle.
Play outside. And so when the fitness came to me, was more so out of what most people get exposed to early on is body image and weight and that kind of thing. And I was on a very individual journey in my life. So it actually started for me in 6th grade. I started to think about exercise and nutrition and actually probably not using it in the most healthy way at that time. And then it wasn't until, and I always kind of shied away from joining sports and various, my mom would tell me that she put me into brownies for a little bit, but I didn't last, or put me in. But really, there wasn't much attempt of putting me in those group things. I was the third of 4. So
she doesn't assimilate well.
Yeah. And so when I started to get exposed to group fitness, which you think it might be belonging, but it's very individual. Because I didn't play sports, I always felt too much pressure to perform, and I didn't feel like I had any skill. I didn't, it's kind of what the last one picked in PE class kind of thing. So when I found exercise, and there's a very pivotal person in my life, I still know her today, that was teaching and still is. I believe she's still teaching these classes in a little church gym. They just rent the space. I started to feel some empowerment in my body, like moving, and I could do this and I tended to relate with more older people. That's kind of part of that introvert. And so I would go exercise, and it was something individual, and it was almost like dance-like, but it was controlled enough that it was a routine, and it felt like I could do it. I felt, empowered by it. And then there was the instructor who knew I was kind of the shy back of the row kind of person, that realized there was something in me and said, nope, you're up front here with me. And then before long, she just told me, you need to be teaching this. And that's what kind of started the path of fitness for me.
Well, we'll just stay on the fitness theme then. I'll share a little bit about
Because I know running has kind of been your.
Well, no. I mean, yes and no. It didn't really start that way, though. I mean, I would run because I loved to run, but I was like chasing my brothers and
beating them up.
Yeah, I'm beating them up. And, fitness wasn't a thing in our family either. Very similar, right? Growing up in the 70s, and it was get your ass outside.
Oh yeah, play outside all day.
Honestly, most of our fitness came from hard work. My dad had us work. We lived out in the country. We lived on acreage, and it used to be an old riverbed, and so we had a lot of rocks in our yards. We hauled a lot of rocks. Couldn't rototill the ground without the rototiller tines getting caught up, and so we moved a lot of rock. We built barns on our property, and really chopping wood. The fitness, we were in great shape, and it was mostly from going up to the mountains, taking the chainsaw, cutting up wood, loading up the truck, bringing it back, and then splitting all that wood by hand. We joke because when the last brother moved out, my dad bought a hydraulic splitter, and we were pissed. We were pissed.
He's like, I need it to be easy now.
Well, he goes, I didn't need it before. I had 3 splitters. Now I got one that doesn't talk back to me.
Doesn't complain.
And then I did a lot of hiking, and I'll get into the nature stuff later, but as far as the connection, but it was a main source of my fitness was walking the creeks and fishing and going up into, the Cascades and backpacking and hiking and rock climbing and rappelling. And then that led to mountaineering, big peaks and hours of straight up and down. And then I, in high school, I ran cross country and was okay at it. I wasn't really like you. I wasn't much of a team joiner back then. I wasn't very athletic in high school. I loved basketball, but I could not coordinate my hands and the ball. It was not in the cards. And I was small for my age at the time. And I got better at basketball later. I joined the courthouse and played for 20 years. I played pickup basketball at noon, 3 days a week, and it was great. And then we really got into running after I quit playing basketball. My best friend Jeff and I started running with the goal of running a 50-mile race at 50 years old. And we trained and trained and trained. And the closer our 50th birthday came, we decided that a 50K was a better choice, which is 31.2 miles. And we did it. We ran an ultra marathon, and it was the hardest thing I've ever done. It was at Mary's Peak, and it was through the mountains, and we ran through rivers, and I hurt my back partway through. It was brutal, but we did it and we finished. I have to tell you, we had this vision at the end of this race that we were going to go to a restaurant and we're going to have a big meal and a beer, and we're just going to celebrate. It's like this would be the greatest accomplishment. It's taken us 5 years of training, and this is so exciting. And we just kind of were like, ugh. And so we went to the restaurant, which neither of us felt like going.
I was going to say, probably didn't feel like eating.
Ordered food, ordered a beer, and I went to the bathroom and I threw up. I came out and they boxed up my food. I didn't drink my beer, and I went home. It was like this fantasy ending.
Yeah, another time.
So I think that, fitness was not, as far as the conversation today, we're talking about fitness, as far as wellness goes. I didn't know anything about wellness. I was just doing what I love to do and using my body.
Well, that's what I was going to say, is you came in it functionally, like having to cut wood. You didn't think about what muscles are doing what work. And I came in it from what muscles are working. And, I had just this original teacher I was sharing about, she goes, you have this gift of form and gift of being able to explain it and moving your body in a way. And so it's like, I didn't have a lot of experiences like you. I mean, we lived in a neighborhood and, I played in the backyard, but as far as going on a lot of, adventures or using my body, using my fitness. So, and then I learned to lift weights, and I love lifting weights. I know my football brother would make me come out, and he didn't want to be by himself. So he'd make me come sit out. We had this other room that my parents built on the house, and he would lift weights back when MTV was MTV. and had music.
It's no more right. It's
Is
out
it
of
not?
business
Is
now.
it okay?
Yeah,
I
just
mean,
last year.
and he would lift weights, and I would dink around with him lifting some weights. So that started it, but it was always very purpose driven, right? From a exercise versus like, I'm going to go climb this mountain or go explore this creek. And so it's interesting. And now I'm teaching functional fitness, but it's neat to see like, okay, that balance for people of using their function and keeping that strong so they can keep their function.
Yeah. Well, and I'll say that, as a kid, we were kids. We didn't want to do that work. We didn't want to split wood. I'm sure my dad didn't either, but that was the only heat we had. And so we had to split wood. And my brothers and I talk very fondly now about
splitting
wood. And we can still go out there and chop down a cord in no time flat. And it's kind of a meditative practice when we get the opportunity to do it now. I had to have some trees taken out of our yard last year or year before. And I went out there, and in an afternoon, I split up a bunch of wood from these 100-foot fir trees. And I love being outside. I love splitting the wood. So it has a nostalgic memory. And
well,
it has
your body has wiring.
I was just going to say, and the muscle memory in my body fell right into flow. I think where I struggle with fitness in today's age and stage is that I am not as active in the outdoors as I used to be. And I find it very unimpressive to, like, I'm not going to run on a treadmill. I can't do it. I've tried it, and I know it's good for me, but I want to be outside. And outside takes a little more effort than going to get on a treadmill in your home. And so the effort and the timeline of everything else in my life, caregiving and work and growing a business, it just gets in the way. And so this age and stage is different for me. And I realized how much freedom I had as a child and a young person with my parents. They didn't know where I was half the time. They didn't know and my mom freaks out. She's 82. And she's like, I don't know what I was thinking. So Mom, we all lived. But she's like, you wouldn't probably do that today. And so I feel like the manufactured indoor working out doesn't resonate with me like it does with you, because you're about form and weights and function. I do it, but I'm not as passionate about it as you are. I'd rather go out and lift and carry and move and do some things that remind me of that. And I wonder what the wiring has to do with that.
Oh, I'm sure. Well, and just knowing that, it's best to do what inspires you to stay physically moving, right?
Yes.
Versus should, or I know it's good for me. It's
right.
And it's learning to prioritize it in a world that doesn't very much prioritize it. It's easy to get it filled with everything else, whatever that looks like for you.
Well, last episode you mentioned doing squats in between sessions, and
I just did one a little bit ago.
And we had talked about that a couple of weeks ago, and in fact, you and I had an opportunity to go somewhere together, and every hour, 90 minutes or something, we'd stop and do 10 squats. And so I think that between clients in my world and your world, because we were with clients, but I like that. See, that's something that I can do, and then kind of
accessible.
It's accessible, and I think we forget about that. And so we'll talk more about that, because I think it's a great way we should have a list on our show notes of ways we can share with these intermittent ways throughout the day you can do things like that. But tying it back, I think that quick squat exercise is almost more meaningful for me than running on a treadmill, because it's right there and I can do it and I get the immediate results. So anyway, I don't want to ramble on about that, but it feels interesting to me that you and I grew up differently and we default back to those wirings. I hadn't really considered that till this conversation.
I just think about fitness. Like I like to be more. I've had my time with the treadmill.
I know you like the bike.
No, Maddie knows I do not like the bike. Everybody at CrossFit knows when I go, it's scheduled like today, it's scheduled to do the bike, and they're going to see me go get the rower.
Bring it
Here comes Melissa, bring the rower, because she's not going to do the bike.
But you don't mind riding a bike outside.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
It's a height thing. That's why with
Yeah.
the stationary bike thing.
Mm.
And people know what I'm talking about. Not just the stationary bike at your local gym. This is
Yeah.
CrossFit bike.
Yeah.
Yeah, like yesterday, and part of me, it's just, I've wired it that it's part of what I do and keeps me sane and well, and I enjoy doing. So when people ask me what's my favorite pastimes, like we're talking about just our story of wellness, it's like, I like to work out. I like to lift weights. I mean, I like to complain about it too.
You don't complain.
Well, when we're there, it's
Yeah.
fun because of like Maddie's, she changes weights out and puts heavier ones for me. And, so it's just the fun of it. And yeah, I wouldn't, as you know, it's pretty much in my schedule. And I have 2 kids that are the same, that
Mhm.
just, it's what you do for your body. And it's not putting anybody down that doesn't do that. It's because we got to look
No,
at
everyone's
like,
got different circumstances.
right.
Yeah.
And how they've been raised too, to know it. And I think, I know we're staying today just talking about our personal stories. So I'm not going to get into like
Mhm.
coaching to say, yeah, I got to exercise.
Mm.
We just know that I'm looking at it too, now that I am encroaching a different age and stage, that I'm in it for the long haul, and I want to keep moving and doing and strong as long as I can.
Yeah.
And I see people in my life that have chosen different paths, that have not had that exposure to that kind of support in their bodies. And not all, but many people that adds to the decline
Yeah.
faster. And it's grieving for me because of what I do now as a profession, as well as what I do for myself. I want to help everybody. I wish
Mhm.
I could be there to help them move their bodies and know that that's, I love this old phrase. I did a talk, was it last year, I think? And it was kind of like, the title of it was, part of the title was, muscle is like gold in the bank. And if you're not using it, like you said, you notice you're not doing the
Yeah.
things it behooves each of us to do what we can to keep that muscle strong, because that's going to keep our health in better condition than we realize.
Well, and all the studies back what you're saying, and you see older and older people lifting longer and longer now. And I think that's fantastic. And like you, I've got people in my life, in my family that getting older, and they're not probably going to begin a routine at this age.
Yeah.
And so going into it with your momentum is really important. And mine, I've got my own momentum. I'm not as excited about lifting weights or going to the gym as you are. I do love the benefits afterwards, and I do enjoy it. And again, everyone's got their own circumstances. It's interesting because you have to be committed and you have to find a way to make it work. But as Melissa's always saying, a little bit is better than nothing at all. Do something and then slowly build on those habits. And that was really helpful for me when I first started working with you, because I'm an all-in, balls to the wall, let's get it done, let's figure it out. But I got permission to kind of go, wait, if I only have time for 20 minutes to go down and do something quickly between this and that, it's better than I don't have time today.
Waiting for an hour, waiting for a
Yeah,
minute. It's
right.
never happening. Yeah.
And I'm better at home. I got my entire garage set up now.
We do too.
To go somewhere and to wait for machines, or, I don't know, it just was too much. And maybe that'll change as my life changes, because I got circumstances in my life that I have to be at home and I've got to be close, but it's working for me. So,
well, that's it. I always love having a home space, because it's like I have no excuse. Not that it would be an excuse, but just knowing that that's part of.
Do you ever work out there?
Yeah. Oh, especially during COVID. That was
COVID, of course. Yeah.
Yeah. But my son, he prefers to have a private space.
Mhm.
And some people, that's another thing over my lifespan, coming back to what I said at the beginning about Otrovert. You might want to look that up, because it might clear some things up for you out there that have those same tendencies, is that we think we should be this way, or go be part of sports, or we should go do this, or be, more. And I'm like, we got to find what works for us.
Mhm.
And I know for my son right now, he likes his own personal workout time. And so he uses the garage space, and I do train a couple people on site. And then part of why I go away to go work out someplace and have that designated is that commitment. I have it structured in my schedule to do so. And I do work from home. So getting out, even though I am pretty private worker outer and I, go at my own degree of push.
She doesn't like being told what to do.
Don't. And so I like to go and, my daughter's my coach now. So it's like I go and I do it just to be out, even though I'm still kind of in my own little bubble. Like yesterday, it was gorgeous weather yesterday, and back big garage door was open, and it was a little hot actually. And I was like, I want to be out in the sun, and I worked out outside.
Yeah.
And it's literally, you take most of the equipment away. It's really just some dumbbells, and you're just moving your body. And, I feel so much better for it. So.
Yeah, I feel like there's certain things that I want to continue to get better at. And I think that's also important, is you've always got to be looking to do something and grow and not just go through the motions to maintain. So at this age and stage, fitness is absolutely a priority in my life, and it's a priority in your life. And when you get to 50 and above, it's a good time to revisit your fitness levels and what you'd like to have as far as a foundation moving into the latter part of your life. And if you need any help with that, call Melissa. She's here.
And it's never too late to start too. That's what I encourage people is we think studies have shown that your bone density increases. It doesn't, your muscle mass, you can, totally alter the direction. I've had many people I've worked with that thought they were just going to get more and more disabled, so to speak, and their life's completely different now. So I want you to feel empowered, even if it feels overwhelming at first. Just like Scott said, you take one step at a time. And, I'm thankful to my football brother, thankful to the aerobic instructor that just kind of, shoved that little bit of awareness in me somehow, or connected with whatever blueprint was in here to stay steady on that path. Yeah. And so I hope that for each person to connect with that piece of them, that athlete inside.
Yeah.
Even though I've never been an athlete, but in that way, but I'm an athlete in different ways.
That's right.
So I think people don't think they are. So to realize that's there.
Yeah. So keep moving. And if you would like to connect with us on this topic, you can reach us through our website, and you can reach Melissa through her website. You can reach me through my website. There's 3 ways. And we are accessible. And we will do a little bit of functional movement with Melissa and Maddie in June at our retreat, June 2nd through 6th in Sedona, Arizona. We're staying at the Briar Patch Inn, and we've got some cool excursions, and we got some great mindfulness. We're going to do some yoga. We're going to cook on site. Chef Scott's going to be in the kitchen, and hopefully you'll plan to join us. We have about 4 spots left, 2 spots if it's single occ, 4 if you bring a friend, double occupancy. So check it out at vitaledgewellnesscoaching.com/retreats. And thanks for joining us today. We'll see you next time on Rise and Thrive. Take care, everybody. Keep moving.
Namaste.
Thanks for tuning in to Rise and Thrive, a podcast by Vital Edge Wellness Coaching. If you found this episode meaningful, please rate, review, and share it with someone who might need it. For upcoming retreats and to join the Vital Edge Wellness community, head to vitaledgewellnesscoaching.com. Let's rise and thrive together.